Hi, I'm Jana Bozeman. Today I wanted to lead you through a quick little 15 to 20-minute flow class. It's something to do when you don't have a lot of time, but you want to warm up the body, connect the breath, get a quick little yoga session in. If you do have blocks, those would probably be good to have. Strap and blankets are always nice to have close by as well. So let's get to it. Right away, we're going to start in a tabletop position. So just coming to hands and knees. I want you to set up here with your shoulders over your wrists, fingers spreading a lot, more than feels natural. So as you do this and as you start to press down evenly into all 10 knuckles, you're offering a lot of support to the wrists, which is really good. A lot of us struggle with those wrist issues from being on the computer so much. It also helps to engage the arms, so we start to build that muscle. I want you to peek to see that your knees are underneath your hips. They're about hips distance apart. And then pull your lower belly in and up a little bit. Gaze forward so the back of your neck is nice and long. And then we start to flow, move here. So inhaling, arching, coming into our cat-cow. Exhale, press the mat away, round in. Really let the back of your neck lengthen. And then continue like this. And as you're breathing here, you're inhaling through your nose. And you're also exhaling through your nose. So you're creating this soft rush of air in the back of your throat, that ujjayi breath. We often take a moment or two to just be quiet with that breath, but we're going to move right away today. It can be really nice to close your eyes here. That helps you to get internal. It helps you to start to pay attention to your body, which is one of the goals that we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to develop that skill in our yoga practice. So you're noticing, how is your spine feeling here? Where is there a sense of ease? Where are things a little tighter? And then also notice how as you begin to move, it doesn't take much time at all. Stuff starts to shift. You start to find a little more space, a little more opening. All right, so on your next inhale, you're gonna come back to a neutral spine. We still have that alignment of shoulders over wrists, fingers spreading, belly pulling in. You might just reconnect with those ideas again. And then we're gonna come into a little balance pose, little core work. So keep rooting down into your palms, keep your gaze forward. As you inhale, you're gonna lift your right leg up. That hip likes to open up. Keep directing the hip bone down so your toes are pointing down towards the mat. Deep inhale, and this is like a little modified cat-cow. As you exhale, curl in, bring your knee to your nose. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, curl in, knee to nose. Inhale, lengthen back. Exhale, curl in, knee to nose, couple more, stretch back, keep those outer hips squeezing in towards each other, shoulder blades releasing in towards each other, exhaling, squeezing in, inhale, stretch back. Good, exhale, curl in, hold here, keep breathing. So the urge is gonna be to stop the breath, feel your belly pull in a little more, let the back of your neck release. See if you can bring your right heel closer to your right buttocks. Oh, you're gonna feel that belly burn, enjoy it. Inhale, stretch back. And then go ahead and release that side down, and we're gonna take it to the second side. So same thing, fingers spreading, shoulders over wrists. Inhale, left leg lifts. Those toes are pointing down, hips are nice and even. You can feel those outer hips squeeze in towards each other, just a hair. Deep inhale. Exhale, curl in. Inhale, lengthen back. Good, exhale, curl in, getting into the core, working the belly, warming it up right away. Inhale, lengthen back. Exhale, curl in. Inhale, stretch back, 4. Exhale, curl in. Inhale, stretch back, 5. Exhale, curl in. Stay here, hold a few breaths. Keep the breath moving. Press the mat away, let the back of your neck release. See if you can bring your left heel closer to your left buttocks. Enjoy the burn. Inhale, stretch back. Good, release down, lovely. So we have this nice setup here. We're gonna reach those right toes back, curl them under. So that leg is really active. It's in plank pose. And we're gonna join the left leg there. So in this plank, you want your shoulders to be in line with your hips. So oftentimes the hips come up towards the ceiling, like so. We're still, some of us dump because we're not very strong in our core. So if this plank is really hard for you to maintain, maybe you come to your knees. That's a good variation. I did it for years when I started my yoga practice. And in fact, we're all gonna lower to our knees here. Shift forward. As you exhale, your elbows bend an inch to no more than shoulders in line with elbows, and then land on your belly. Inhale, extend your chest forward and up. You're lengthening back through all 10 toes. So Bhujangasana, the elbows love to wing out. You're squeezing them in. As you exhale, lower. Inhaling up. Exhale, lower down. So just moving with the breath. So this is where we start to find our flow, our vinyasa. Anytime we connect movement with the breath, it can be simple like this, a little more complex like our sun salutes. And then inhaling up, holding here. Let's get into the shoulders. So keep your head and chest lifted. Reach your arms out. If you are able, if you have the flexibility in your shoulders, this is a great shoulder stretch. You're interlacing your fingers at the small of your back and then dragging your knuckles towards your heels. If you're tighter and you have a strap handy, you could hold onto the strap. You could also just reach back, spread those fingers, feel those shoulder heads lift. And again, you want to keep your gaze forward. So we want to keep the back of the neck nice and long. You're still rolling to the outer edges of your feet. Breath is smooth and steady. Each inhale is giving you a little lift, a little lightness. Good, and then take your arms out wide like airplane wings. Keep lifting your heart and chest as much as possible. Bend the elbows again. Fingertips are underneath your shoulder heads. Fingers spreading, we're back in our Bhujangasana. From here, we press back to our tabletop. Curl toes under, downward facing dog. We're gonna just take a couple of breaths here. If you would like to fidget around a little bit, that first downward dog of the day, that always feels really nice. So you can rock up onto your toes and then melt back into your heels. Good, start to walk your hands back to meet your feet. Let the neck release. Couple standing cobra poses here. So we're not very warm yet. If you tend to be more flexible in your body, fingertips can be on the floor. Inhale, chest lengthens forward. Most of us are gonna have our shins, or our hands on our shins or our thighs so we can get this lengthening through the sides of our waist. As you exhale, fold in, neck releases. Inhale, come into that L shape, shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other, elbows squeeze into the waist. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lengthen up. Good, exhale, lower. Root down into your feet. Stretch arms out and up as you rise up this time. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. And then let's start to move a little bit. So coming into a few half sun salutes here. Nice Tadasana mountain pose. You feel really steady and even on your feet. Arms by your side, palms facing forward. This openness across your heart and chest. Inhale, stretch up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhaling through your nose, extend forward. So fingertips on floor, hands on shins or thighs. As you exhale, you fold back in. Inhale, press down. Rise up, take up lots of space, let it feel good. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in, let the back of your neck lengthen. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. As you exhale, fold. Inhale, press down into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna just give you the side profile here. So I'm standing nice and tall. Sometimes we can dump in the lower back, puff out the chest. So go the opposite direction. So sternum stretches up, tailbone releases down. Here we go, one more, half sun salute. Inhale, arms reach. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, spread your fingers. Right foot way back, then left foot. Here we are in that plank pose again. Maybe you're on your knees. Deep inhale. Exhale, shift forward, come to knees. Lower to halfway, and you might not get all the way. You might be a little higher, that's fine. So you're pausing here and then landing on your belly. Inhale, low cobra. As you exhale, press the tabletop. Curl your toes under, couple of breaths here. Let the neck go so you're gazing between your feet, spreading fingers, arms are activated. And then look forward between your hands. Stay in your downward dog, but take a bend in your knees. Come to your tippy toes. This is a hard move. So at the end of your exhale, you're gonna step that right foot forward between your hands or your left foot. If that's not working in your body, you walk forward. Inhale, chest lengthens. As you exhale, folded. Inhale, press into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. Exhale, hands come together at your hearts. Inhaling through your nose, reaching. Exhaling through your nose, folding in. Inhale, lengthen. Keep gaze forward, bend knees, plant palms, left foot back, then right. We're gonna take an inhale here. Exhale, shift forward, come to knees, lower, chaturanga. Pause, and then onto your belly. Inhale, into your low cobra. As you exhale, press to your tabletop, curl your toes under. Downward dog. This is like what, our third or fourth one. It's already feeling a lot easier. And if it's not, that's okay too. As you practice yoga more and more, you're gonna get there. All right, so little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes on your inhale, look where you're going. End of your exhale, step left foot forward, then right, or you walk through. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, folded. Inhale, root down, take up space as you rise up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. One more, these feel so good. I always say it's hard to be unhappy when you're doing these sun salutes. Reaching up on your inhale. They're the best medicine. Exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms. We're gonna step our right foot way back, then our left, so alternating. As you exhale, come to knees, lower, halfway pause, and then exhale the rest of the breath out, lower onto your belly. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, press to your tabletop. Curl your toes under, downward facing dog. And from here, we're gonna take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, ha. All right, so as you inhale, right leg lifts, keep the hips even, so those toes are pointing down towards the mat. As you exhale, again, this is a challenging move. We're gonna step this right foot through between our hands. We're gonna lower onto our back knee. So if you're on a hard surface here, it could be really nice to slide a blanket or kind of roll up your mat so you give that knee a little padding. I want you to look down at this right foot, make sure that the knee is over the ankle, and then if you feel like you're in a tightrope, believe it or not, this is a balance pose. Go ahead and walk that right foot off to the right. And then start to melt this left hip down any amount. If you are tight, this is where blocks are so wonderful. This is called bringing the floor closer to you. It's not cheating. It's keeping us safe in the poses. It's helping us to build that flexibility. This is how we get there. Okay, and you're still inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose. And we're gonna come back to little runner's lunge. You're drawing your right hip back, left hip forward, and you can move these blocks with you. Hamstrings, big, big muscle that is quite tight for most of us. So you might want to raise your blocks up if you are using them. Good, a couple more breaths. All right, so we're gonna start to upright ourselves here. Tailbone is directing down, sternum is reaching up. Release your hands by your side. Inhale, reach up. So little low crescent. Maybe bring your gaze up. You might fall out. Challenge your balance. That's okay. It's not far to the floor. Perhaps you press palms. As you exhale, hands are going to come to the mat. Curl those left toes under. Fire that thigh up. And then you're going to step that right foot back. See if you can keep your hips low. So we're in plank pose here. Come to knees. Exhale, lower. Chaturanga. Onto your belly. Inhale, low cobra. As you exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. So that same little sequence to the second side. Step that foot through. You might have to pick it up and move it. There is no shame in that. That's a hard move to get. Do make sure that your left knee is over your left ankle and you're not on a tightrope. So walk that foot off to the side. Slide that right knee back. Maybe it's padded up. Those knee joints are really tender. And then you're melting this right hip down. Big, big stretch. Hip flexors, which get really tight. There's a lot of big muscles attaching here. So keep breathing. Notice if you have started to clench the muscles in your face, in your jaw, soften them. It's just yoga. And of course, you could be on your blocks here. And then we're gonna slide back. So the hips melt back over that right knee. This left hip especially draws back, right hip forward. So they're both facing the same direction. Big, big hamstring stretch. If yours is really tight, you can always take a bend in that left knee too, and that's gonna help things immensely. Okay, so we're gonna come up into our low crescent. So we start to upright ourselves here. Tailbone directs down, sternum reaches up, lots of length through the sides of the waist. Inhale, stretch your arms out and up. Good, maybe gaze up, press palms together. And then as we exhale, we're gonna make our way back into that plank pose. So palms plant on either side of that left foot. Curl your right toes under, that leg is in plank. See if you can keep your hips this low as you sneak that left leg back. Come to knees, lower chaturanga, onto your belly. Inhale, low cobra. As you exhale, curl your toes under. Pull your hips back, downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here, let everything slow down. Good, and then we're gonna start to walk our hands back to meet our feet. As you inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, press down into your feet, stretch your arms out and up. Take up space. Hopefully you already feel like you've grown an inch or two taller. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. All right, so fun little balance pose. Just a quick little tree pose here. So finding your nice Tadasana, you're gonna root down into that left foot. Feel that outer left hip squeeze in, lower belly is pulling in and up. Hold on to all of that as you start to come up onto your right toes. So as you do that, that hip might wanna pop out, squeeze it in, open up. All right, so you can stay here like this with toes on the earth. Maybe you lift that right foot to the lower left leg. Maybe you reach down, bring that foot to the inside of your thigh. Good, inhale, start to stretch your arms up. So this looks like a fairly simple balance pose starting out. It's not if you're new to it. You're working. If you've been doing this a while, you're working. So my standing foot, kind of it's going back and forth. You can't necessarily see it, but a lot of strengthening is going on. And it seems like this static thing, balance isn't. There's so much movement. Perhaps bring your gaze up here. See how tall you can get. And then palms press, hands come to heart center. Good, release that right foot. Press into that foot, feel the arches lift. Outer hip squeezes in, lower belly pulls in and up, come up onto those left toes. Open up that hip. So you could just be here. This is tree pose, this counts. If you wanna go a little further, that foot might come to the lower right leg. If you've got the flexibility in your hips, if you've been doing this a while, you can use your hand on the ankle of the foot. Place it as high as you can get it. The only place I don't want this foot is on your knee. Hands at heart center. So are you breathing? And then also very helpful in this tree pose, I didn't say it on the other side, but to look at something in front of you that isn't moving, a drishti. Start to extend your arms up. And just imagine that somebody is pointing up or pulling up on your wrist and you can't see my fingers, but they're spread and active. It's like branches from a tree. Start to bring your gaze up. Good, palms press. Come to heart center. Beautiful work. Release that. We're gonna come to seated. So we're gonna just do a quick little forward fold, hip stretch here. If you know that you're tighter on your hips, I encourage you to grab a blanket and sit down on that. It's gonna give you a little release in your pelvic girdle. Nice little adjustment. Otherwise, you're welcome to sit down onto the mat. So we're gonna cross our right shin in front of our left shin. We're rooting down into sit bones. If you are more flexible, you can stack shins on top of each other. Make sure that you're flexing that right foot if you do that. All right, so rooting down into sit bones. Inhale, stretch arms up. And then as you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. So depending upon how tight you are, you might be pretty upright. You could even have hands on blocks. For those of us that are a little more flexible, I'm gonna give you the side view too. So I'm keeping my spine long as I come in. So what happens is a lot of times we start to really round in the upper back. And it feels like, oh, I can get my head to the mat really easy, but that's not what we're going for. We are going for the nice hip stretch and forward fold. So we want to keep a little lift in the upper body. And then check in with that breath again, that inhale through your nose, that exhale through your nose. You could rest your forehead on a block here. That always feels really nice and calming. Good. Inhale, roll on up. And we're going to take the second side. So extend legs to straight. Recross with the left shin in front. And then if you're a little more flexible, if you practice this fire log pose, you're welcome to do that. So shin stack on top of each other. It's going to get into this left hip a little deeper. Flexing this foot to protect the knee joint. Arms reach. Hold on to length. If you start rounding, that's when you need to back out a little bit. And then folding in here, and let's really key into the breath. So that inhale through the nose, that exhale through the nose. Maybe slowing it down at this point. Soaking up that sound of your breath. So it's actually like the best soundtrack going. We're very distracted all the time. We always have a lot of background noise, sometimes on purpose, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it is really good if you can give yourself permission to not have the music on in the background or the television. Just pay attention to your body and breath. And it does get easier. It's very challenging to do in the beginning, but it becomes like your friend, this silence, this stillness, this rhythm of your breath. Okay, so from here, we're going to inhale, roll on up, extend the legs to straight again, give them a little shake out. We're going to come into a really quick Shavasana. So of course, if you're at home and you want to take a longer one, by all means, do so. So you're going to lay down on your mat, hug your knees into your chest, and then extend your legs to straight. A little wider than hip distance apart, allow them to fall out. Arms come by your side, palms facing up. Feel your shoulder blades press down into the mat. Deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, ha. And we're gonna end here. So take as much time as feels right for you today. Do try to be here for a minute or two. And as you move back into your day, make it a good one.